Um, from what we've all gathered from the January 6th the Klan attack and the committee, Donald Trump planned the whole fucking thing. But why are motherfuckers still defending him? The January 6th committee's final public hearing before the midterm election ended with the fucking bang and not a whimper. At the conclusion of the hearing, the committee's 9 members voted unanimously to subpoena the former squatter Donald Trump to testify. After their 2.5 hour presentation, it's hard to fucking imagine how they could ever have contemplated doing otherwise. They presented a meticulously documented case which showed that Trump had a premeditated plan for many months to deny losing the election. He plotted a coup to overturn the results if he did. He incited a violent Klan insurrection when that was thwarted, and then refused for hours to respond to the violence as he watched it unfold on national television. Now, whether he will respond to the subpoena remains to be seen, but either way, it's another black mark on his uniquely corrupt and dishonest political career. Now, for most of us, who closely followed these events in real time, both on January 6th and through the subsequent investigations and the revelations, much of this was not news. But it's been a while. Since we focused. But it's been a while since we focused on some of these details and to see it presented in a narrative form, with so much video and documentary evidence. It's still fucking powerful. Now, for instance, the fact that Trump had planned to contest the election if he lost was no secret. Indeed, he had signaled back in 2016 that he would never concede defeat, famously declaring in the days before that election, "I would totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win." Now, for years after that victory, he insisted that he actually won the popular vote, but he did not. But he had been victimized by millions of immigrants illegally voting in California, which he offered no proof of. He even convened something called the Presidential Advisory Commission on Election Integrity to try to prove that case. Even his hand-picked hackers couldn't turn up any evidence, and the commission was quietly disbanded without even issuing any report. Now, in 2020, as 2020 approached with Trump down in the polls and the pandemic wreaking havoc around the world, he began to lay the groundwork for denying his loss once again. Now, for months, he railed against mail-in ballots, which were being instituted in many states in response to the pandemic, and he set up a narrative that they were inherently fraudulent, which he offered no evidence of. He threatened to withhold federal funds from states that used mail-in voting, and he accused California of setting up massive fraud by sending out ballots to registered voters, which he also offered no evidence. Now, Trump's 2020 campaign manager, Bill Stipien, had told the committee that he couldn't be talked out of his irrational opposition to voting by mail, even though there were numerous states where it would likely benefit him and Republicans in general. Now, the outside advisors and surrogates like Steve Bannon and Roger Stone publicly discussed the plan to claim victory regardless of the actual vote count. Now, most strikingly, the committee dug up a draft speech that was sent to Trump by right-wing activist Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch, who's among one of his most influential advisors on the Mar-a-Lago documents case, and he proposed that Trump should declare victory on election night and declare that all votes not yet counted were illegitimate, which is exactly what he tried to do. So he clearly planned to say the election was rigged long before the first votes were cast, and the coup plot in which Trump and his legal lackeys contested the results in numerous states was also planned well in advance. Now, those cases got thrown out of courts across the country by Republican and Democratic judges alike, and as Thursday's January 6th hearing revealed, this made Trump pissed. Now, the former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson testified that after the Supreme Court refused to hear the crackpot lawsuit meant to overturn the results in several battleground states, which of course Trump saw as a personal betrayal, she ran into the squatter in a hallway where he was raging about the decision. Now, Trump told Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, according to Hutchinson, that he didn't want people to know that they had lost the case, tasking Meadows with making sure that they didn't find out, and that's fucking nuts, of course, but it's also highly revealing. Now, Hutchinson also testified that during Trump's diatribe to Meadows, he asked, "Why didn't we make more calls?" That's a curious thing to say, and it raises the unanswered question of exactly who they were calling as the Supreme Court was considering this case. Is that how things work with the court's conservative majority? Who knows? But since the committee finally got its hands on a considerable number of emails and other January 6 related documents from the Secret Service, although not the missing and apparently erased text messages, there was some disturbing new information about what the agency knew ahead of time before the threats of violence. Something is deeply wrong with the Secret Service, it seems, and it doesn't stop with them. Law enforcement in general appears to have ignored a mountain of incoming intelligence telegraphing the fact that pro-Trump extremists were highly agitated and violence was possible or even more likely. And Trump knew this too. Jason Miller, the Trump campaign senior communications advisor, had forwarded a link to Mark Meadows as to a startling social media page that included such comments as gallows don't require electricity, and our lawmakers in Congress can leave one of two ways: one in a fucking body bag, or two after rightfully certifying Trump as the winner, which that would not be rightfully, that would be wrongfully certifying Trump. Now, Miller didn't express alarm or concern. He boasted, "I got the base fired up," and Miller claimed it after the fact that he didn't know about the more extreme comments. As a result of law enforcement's failure to prepare for January 6th, the Congress was left vulnerable after Trump gave his big speech on the ellipse, urging his rabid sycophants to march to the Capitol, and some of them, in fact, were already there. He wanted to go there, too, but his Secret Service detail refused to take him, which led to the purported fight between Trump and his agents and the squadron SUV. And what he planned to do there, we can only fucking imagine. But now we know what the leaders of the House and Senate were doing during that time. They were responding to the crisis, which Trump refused to do. Now while the squatter was sitting in the Oval Office dining room, reveling in the images of his Klan mob storming the Capitol and threatening to kill Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence, the congressional leaders had been taken to a secure location where they were working hard to get police and National Guard troops to the Capitol to put down the insurrection. As it happens, a documentary crew was on hand that day to record the historic vote, and they captured Nancy Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer, then the minority leader, taking charge and calmly reaching out to various government officials trying to get cabinet members, including the acting Attorney General and acting Defense Secretary, to persuade Trump to call off the mob. It's an impressive display of leadership, considering that they knew they were being hunted like animals as it was happening. The cumulative effect of the January 6th hearings, culminating in Thursday's wrap-up of the central narrative, has made clear that Donald Trump set up the coup before the election and was personally involved in the various attempts to execute it. He understood that violence was possible on January 6th, and he incited the crowd to storm the Capitol, and he refused to take any action to stop it. Everything that happened came in his direction, and none was done in his name. Now, beyond that, Trump has turned the country upside down for a little over 2 years, and he built an anti-democratic movement dedicated to destroying the right to vote and sabotaging elections, entirely in service to his injured ego and his refusal to admit that he could ever possibly lose. He is a damaged, destructive, narcissist piece of shit beyond all help. But the really disturbing question now is why so many fucking people are eager to believe his dangerous fantasies and defend him. So if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just as little as a few bucks a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.